everyone, welcome to Essentially Sports. Uh, Today we have a very special guest with us, US Olympic gold medalist. She won her first Olympic gold medal just at the age of 19. Welcome, Ginny, to our show.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
It's really nice. How are you? How are you doing?
I'm good. So I currently live in Colorado Springs, so kind of on
Yeah.
the other side of the world from you, but yeah, we're good getting into the start of the international season for 2022. So I'm getting ready for my first World Cup of the year, which will be in Cairo, Egypt.
Oh, nice. Really nice. So, you are currently training for it?
Sorry.
Are you training for it? Are you
Yes,
into
I'm
the training?
training for it. Yep, I'm training for it. We're gonna leave in about 2 weeks from now.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, it's definitely coming up, which is getting exciting, especially, the last few years with the pandemic and the Olympics being
Yeah.
delayed and everything. It's just hard to go travel and compete internationally as
Yeah.
much as I'd like to. So it's really
Yeah.
good to just kind of almost feel that sense of normalcy coming back to international competitions.
Yeah. So I saw you in couple of ISSF World Cups last year in 2021. So what are the changes that are you looking forward in your game in 2022?
Yeah, so there's a lot of changes going on right now.
Oh,
Of
nice.
course, after the Olympics, every quad, the rifle shooting community, so the
Yeah.
ISSF, which is our international governing body, changes the rules.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing that all athletes kind of have to deal with, is the fact that things are changing with the rules. So one of the big things we're going to see changing is the finals. So for
Oh.
instance, in an air rifle, the course of fire, how you qualify, is the same, but then the
Hmm.
top 8, how you win a medal, is going to
Yeah.
be different.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's kind of exciting. I think a lot of
Yeah.
athletes are afraid of that because they like to hold on to what they know. But I really like to just embrace that. I think that's super exciting to go and have a new course of fire and like to see the sport progress. And
Right.
sometimes they make decisions I don't love, but it's one of those things I know that if I can control my mindset about it, I'm going to be better off for it. So
Right. Right.
that's one thing I'm looking forward to, is the new courses of fire, which are going to be in Cairo in 2 weeks. And then also I have a few personal things in my life that are changing. So we have a brand new national coach, which is exciting in the US. And so he is also kind of my everyday coach, because I live at the Olympic Training Center where all the national coaches are. So that's super exciting too. He just started a few weeks ago. So still kind of like, building that relationship, because it's so
Yeah.
important, your relationship with the coach. I'm also changing some equipment. So
Oh.
I'll be getting a brand new shooting suit, which I'm so excited for, and a few other pieces of equipment. So lots of change, but now is the time to change. So
Yeah, that's how shooting sport has been. So many changes over the years. Talking about personal life, congratulations on your engagement. I
oh,
wanted to
thank
thank.
you.
Oh
Yeah,
wow,
it's
that's so.
exciting just to to be able to kind of balance my personal life and my
Yeah,
professional
truly.
life. Yeah, so my fiance Connor, we actually live together here in Colorado
Nice.
Springs and have for the last 2.5 years, I guess. So we're looking forward to planning a wedding, but it's very hard to plan a wedding around my shooting schedule.
Absolutely, it must be really tough, but still you're able to manage. So, Ginny, you are known for simplifying shooting terminologies to people on Instagram. So, if you could just simplify 10-meter air rifle for us, for
Yeah.
the viewers who are not aware.
So the biggest thing I can say about 10-meter air rifle is the size of the target, because people don't understand that.
Yeah.
If you are typing on your computer and you are in Times New Roman font, size 12, the period at the end of the sentence is what we are trying to hit.
Yeah.
It's insane. And
It's
you don't
insane.
just hit that once. You're trying to hit that 60 times in a row.
Exactly.
And yeah, so there's a lot of nuance with it, right? The equipment,
Yeah.
the shoot, why are the boots shaped the way they are? But if if someone didn't understand the sport of shooting at all, I would just try to impress upon them like the amazing level of accuracy. And it's both physical and mental, right? So physically being able to control your heart rate, being able to control, how you pull the trigger, all of these such tiny movements.
Right.
And then the mental of, well, you can do it once, but can you hit the center of the target, 60 times in a row?
Yeah.
And then can you do it on the international stage with hundreds, thousands of people watching? Like that's where I'm a firm believer that shooting is the most mental sport out there, but that's what makes it so amazing.
It is. Like I saw one of your videos where you had explained that, the pencil, only the charcoal part, that's how tiny the 10-meter air rifle, the 10.9 is. So it's amazing. So a lot of people don't know that you also play 50-meter rifle. So
I do.
If you had to choose between 10-meter air rifle and 50-meter, what would you choose?
Oh my gosh.
One is close to your heart and one you won the Olympic gold.
That is so hard, actually. So a lot of people don't know this about me, but I'll tell you this. When I started shooting, I was much better at 50-meter.
Oh.
I was much better at small bore. And it was kind of like, Ginny's okay at air rifle, but she's not as good at air rifle. And then when I went to college, I went to university. So I'm 18 years old, right? And my air rifle starts getting better and better and better. And pretty soon they're about the same level. And then we went to Olympic trials in 50-meter. And I won Olympic trials in 50-meter.
Yes.
So I qualified for the Olympics in small bore, but the way our quotas worked at that time, and quotas are basically just the spots you have in the Olympics. The way that worked was because I qualified in small bore, I also got to automatically shoot air rifle.
Yeah.
So we're going to the Olympics. I remember a few weeks before the Olympics, my dad asked me, he said, where do you think you're going to place? Like, what do you think's going to happen? And I said, Dad, I think I could come in first, or I could come in 10th, or I could come anywhere in between. And he said, okay. And then in air rifle, I came in first, and in small bore, I came in 10th. And basically, it was really funny because even though I was at that time really, really good at both guns, and I would say I was the same level, I always kind of thought of myself as a small bore shooter. But nowadays, it's really hard to say because I enjoy them for different reasons because they're kind of different. I would say air rifle is more of like a perfectionist game. Small bore has a lot more variables. But I don't know. I like shooting small bore matches a lot, but I love air rifle finals. Air rifle finals are so much fun. So I'm not going to choose. I'm going to abstain from answering that question.
So 50-meter is so interesting to watch. Also, like it makes me feel very nervous when I see it because they are changing positions constantly. Like if anybody doesn't know, there are 3 different positions in 50-meter rifle. So it's must be very exhausting, but again, fun. You guys practice for that.
I think with 50-meter, you can be like, you really have to know your stuff. Like your shooting IQ, your knowledge of shooting has to be very high. I have seen people who are really young go and win air rifle World Cups and everything, and they don't really know, somebody put them in an air rifle position and they're an amazing shooter, obviously, and they've worked really hard. But to be good at small bore, you have to know your own body. You have to know how the positions and the mechanics work. And I'm an engineer, actually, so I find that really fascinating to like be able to know that. So I like them both for different reasons.
Right, absolutely. So you must be working out also. So if you could spill the beans for us, if there's one particular workout regime that sets you apart from your competitors, like that if I do this is going to work really well for me.
Do you mean in shooting or like in the gym?
In shooting, like for workout for shooting only, right?
Yeah, I like to really keep my trainings and shooting varied. I know there are some people in the world and they like to shoot like a practice match every single day.
Yeah.
And I am not one of those believers because I think it should be fun, right? Like when we are happy, when we're having fun, when we're balanced in our life is when we're going to have the best scores.
Right.
So I like to just change based on where I'm at in my competition season, where I'm at in my life, who's around me, the teammates I can train with, etc. But I would say the number one thing that's important for practice is getting uncomfortable.
Yeah.
People come to me all the time and they say, Ginny, I shoot really well in practice, but in a match, I don't. Why? How do I fix that? And you have two options, right? You either make matches more comfortable, which is really, really hard to do.
Yeah.
Or you make practices more uncomfortable.
Right.
Yeah, to challenge yourself in practice. And that's going to look a little different for everyone. So one of the things I do periodically is I'll write a list of like, what bothers me, right? Like,
right.
For some people, not me, but for some people I know, like their parents being right behind them really bothers them.
Yeah.
Well, invite your parents to practice, right? If if having a time crunch, like being under a really tight time constraint bothers you, then put yourself in that position, So I would say not being afraid of being uncomfortable. And I think people are afraid of that because there's a high likelihood you're going to fail, right?
Right.
Failing's not fun. Nobody wants to fail, but I think there has to be this healthy relationship of like, failing is okay and failing is good and failing is how we are eventually successful.
Right. I personally am also very scared of bringing my parents to my match. So I would definitely do that. That's a great tip. So talking about uncomfortable, in India, we have this very interesting practice. I don't know about there. When we are practicing, people usually play music, people play drums, like there's a lot of hooting. So our coaches actually make us do that so that, we are aware of that uncomfortable background, that environment that actually happens in match. So that's really great. So there's
exactly. If you're, when I went to the Olympics and in the final, it's really loud and it's stressful, it's the final of your life, right? And people would say to me afterwards, like, I don't know how you did that. And it's like, well, I've prepared my entire life to do that. You're not just throwing a random person off the street into the Olympic final. You are throwing an athlete whose life's goal it is to do that. And therefore, I have prepared, you've played the music in practice. You've done that. And that will pay off as the pressure increases, right?
Right. True. Absolutely. So talking about your Olympic gold. So how do you preserve a gold medal? Like, do you keep it at your home or where do you keep that? How do you keep it safe?
That's a good question. Actually, a really funny story. So I was in university when I won and I was young. I had just finished my first year. So I came back from the Olympics, gold medal in my backpack, and I go into my sophomore year of college and I'm in like just student housing,
Right.
And at that time I was keeping the medal in my like bedside table.
Okay.
I didn't have anywhere to put it. And one Friday night, it's like 10 p.m. I'm in my pajamas and I get a knock on my door.
Okay.
And I have a lot of teammates who live right down the street. So I assume it's them. So I just open the door. Like I don't look, I just open it. And it is 5 drunk college students.
Oh my God.
Who had figured out where the Olympian lived and wanted to see my gold medal.
That is so scary.
Yeah. And they were so nice. They were so beyond nice. I showed them my medal. They laughed. But it got into my head of like, there are very few things in life you can't replace, but an Olympic gold medal is one of them. So ever since then, I took it to a bank and I keep it in a bank safe. And then if I need it, I just go pull it out.
Nice. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I'm sure everybody wants to say, Ginny, can we see the medal? Can we see the medal? So it's a good idea. Absolutely. So there's this myth around shooting that people think, oh my God, they're just standing. Why do they need a diet? Why do they need to follow a strict diet like, other sports? So do you follow? Can you just debunk for us the myth?
Yeah, for sure. I think the kind of the rumor that shooters aren't athletes is insane. Insane. And I actually, I've taught a lot of people how to shoot, and one of them was a retired NFL player, so American football.
Yeah.
And I taught him how to shoot, and he looked at me afterwards and he goes, "This is way harder than football." And I just thought that was the funniest thing. But yeah, as soon as you try it, you realize that so much goes into it. Your diet, your hydration affects your vision, all of these things.
Yeah.
So I would say that it's not about the training you do on the range. It's about your holistic lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
Now, do shooters need to follow the same diet that wrestlers follow? No. And do shooters need to be able to squat as much as some other athletes? No. But, having that healthy lifestyle and going to the gym and working on those things, they contribute greatly to your longevity.
Right.
So if you start a workout program and working on your core and eating better, like, you may or may not see an increase in your scores immediately. But over the years, I firmly believe, you're protecting yourself from injury, you're making yourself more consistent, and you're going to make it so you can compete for years and years and years. And that is one of the most special things about shooting, is that longevity. And I think tapping into our athlete side is how we improve that longevity.
Right. So do you follow any strict diet? Like, how does your diet look?
So I don't follow a strict diet,
but a healthy one.
Yeah, I don't have any caffeine. So I don't do tea, I don't do coffee. And every shooter's a little different. Some people can really tolerate caffeine very well, and they may have 1 cup at 8 a.m. every morning. I just don't tolerate caffeine very well. So I don't do caffeine. And I definitely try to be very consistent in what I eat. So I try to eat the same breakfast every single day. I think breakfast is really important for athletes, especially if it's match day. I try to eat the same on match day that I eat on practice days. I try to stay really hydrated for my vision. But I'm also not afraid to have dessert, right? I don't have to be a very specific weight, but I do try to refrain from alcohol. I find that really affects my sleep, and that affects my practice a lot. So yeah, no alcohol, no caffeine is my general. And then, just being conscious. I like to eat a lot of protein. I feel like that really helps me feel my best. So that's kind of my general diet. But, when you get to the upper echelons of your athletic career, you have an amazing support team around you. So I work with a nutritionist and a sports psychologist and a strength trainer and a physical therapist. And of course, all my coaches on the range. So you don't have to, once you get to this level, figure it all out yourself, thankfully.
Yeah, that's right. So we have to follow a strict diet because, people think that we are not prone to injuries, but in long term, if we're not very strict with our routine, with our diet, we are the ones who would get back problems, and a lot of health issues can happen in shooting. So talking about our guns, which is I think people find the most interesting part. So absolutely, our guns are like our families. But have you ever faced any interesting accident or malfunction? Because at the end of the day, they are just machines. So have you faced any kind of accident or malfunction that you remember?
Yeah, I've definitely had some gun problems. But everybody has. Everybody has.
Yeah.
It is, I would say it's not this one brand has gun problems. Just you're using it. It's I would akin it to your car, right? You need to take your car in every, 6 months for its oil change, just like you need yearly servicing with your gun. And sometimes even the nicest cars break down or need new parts. So yeah, I've had a few. They're always most dramatic when it's like during a match, of course. So I actually, my first time in India was the World Cup final in 2017.
Right.
This was a really unfortunate gun malfunction. So I was shooting air rifle in the match, and my siders are a little crazy. And we go to match, and it's like 10, 10, 8 low, 3 low,
oh god,
0. I'm like, what is going on, you know? And I stop, I call the target malfunction. It's not a target malfunction. They're like, your shots are there, it has to be your gun. Anyway, it was my air cylinder.
Oh shit.
And yeah, it was horrible. But actually one of the shooters from Japan stepped up, and she literally ran to the armory, and she got me her air cylinder, and we swapped it out, and I was able to finish the match, and I actually qualified for the final, which was shocking.
Oh, no.
But it was very difficult. It was very hard to focus afterwards. It was my first time kind of dealing with that. And I got a new air cylinder, and everything was better. So it was kind of, but that's one of those things, just, you know, taking care of your equipment, and also like a little bit of good luck to not have it at the worst possible time.
That's the unpredictability of our sport. We cannot do anything about it, right?
Exactly.
So, Ginny, US is the powerhouse in shooting, like Kim Rhodes, Vincent Hancock, you. So I still see, you know, there's a gap in awareness about shooting in relation to, say, NBA, MLB. So where do you think is the gap in shooting sport for the awareness?
Yeah, I think the thing with America is we have such different gun laws than the rest of the world. And that is both a benefit and a detriment to the Olympic shooting sport world. So because there's a lot of different options of different styles of shooting you can do. So 3-gun and action pistol and all of these different styles, you know, Olympic style shooting becomes a very niche section of the shooting sports in America. Whereas in a country like Germany, you know, anyone who's interested in guns or shooting at all kind of has to go to the air rifle small bore side of it. And that becomes more of like a cultural and a generational pursuit. So I think that's one of the places that kind of awareness is lost. You know, a lot of people know about guns, but they don't know about like our specific style. But that's one of the things that I personally am trying to work on with my social media. So I'm very big on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook. Honestly, if it's a platform, I have it. So, but I would say Instagram's my biggest one. I'm just trying to, like, you know, I have 2 goals. So one is to raise up the shooting community. So the people who are already in there, providing them knowledge, information, answering their questions, basically being the resource that I wish I had when I was 17 coming up in the sport. And then the other side is kind of educating the general public. It's such a cool sport, and it's so niche. Not a lot of people know about it. So, you know, my hope is maybe there's some kid out there who thinks they're really unathletic and they don't like sports, which was me when I was a kid. And then they find out about this sport and they give it a try and they love it because of my social media, you know, so those are kind of my goals with that.
Absolutely. You are doing a commendable job, not just in US, but even in India, actually around the world. Whole world is seeing you, watching your videos and getting aware about the sport. So if you really want to know about shooting sport, follow Ginny Thrasher. She really simplifies everything. She's making videos. She's just going to every level to make it more simple for everybody. So do you think, like, if more and more shooters like you come forward and have a social media presence, that will help the sport? Like, you know, in tennis we see Serena Williams so active, you know, even NBA players, all of them are so active on social media. So I don't see that much presence of like shooters are very low key, like they're just doing their job. They are playing,
Yeah.
winning medals, but they have no social media presence at all. So do you think that would help the sport?
Yes and no. I think the type of people in shooting are kind of introverted, quieter. I'm actually an introvert myself. You would never know it, but I am. And so the people that gravitate the people that gravitate towards this sport, typically aren't the most boisterous on social media, and that's okay. I would never want it to distract someone from what they're doing. That being said, it is important to represent, and even, I don't think people have to go all out and create a social media and have thousands of followers and make videos every day. I don't think it has to be there. I think it's more of just like being proud to be a shooting sport athlete. And if people ask, telling them about it. And even, to the point of like, if you're at a match and some little kid comes up to you and wants your autograph or wants to say hi, like proudly representing yourself, your sport, and your nation, and sometimes that's really hard, like, especially while you're still competing. I've had times where I am literally walking to the line to compete and someone will come up to me and ask for something, ask for a piece of my time or an autograph, and something I'd normally be happy to give, but it's really inconvenient timing for me, right?
Yeah.
So it is hard to find that balance and draw the boundaries where you need to be. And people ask me all the time, like, Ginny, how do you do it? How do you compete at the top levels and be so active on social media? And it's like, well, first of all, it's not easy. But second of all, like, I have my priorities. I know shooting is my priority and social media is second. But also, if I can get an engineering degree while winning the Olympics, I can do this too. Like, you gotta know yourself.
That's true. So, Jenny, what's next? Like, Tokyo, I was so sad to not see you there. You missed it by a whisker. That's okay. That's how sports is. But are you aiming for Paris Olympics next?
Yes, I'm definitely aiming for Paris Olympics. Obviously, Tokyo was a super unfortunate, between COVID, and then I actually had a trigger malfunction a few months before trials. And so I ended up qualifying as the alternate, which is a really tough spot to be. So anyway, yeah, I think now I am definitely eyes forward on Paris, 3 years to go. And I'm just super excited because I feel like I'm at a place in my life where I know who I am. I know exactly what I'm capable of. And, I saw this quote the other day from a figure skater because the Winter Olympics are going on. And the quote was, most people care about my journey to the Olympics. I care more about my journey back to the Olympics.
Right.
And it really resonated with me with where I'm at of like, I've honestly had a lot more adversity after Rio than before Rio. And for me to be able to overcome that adversity, make it to Paris, shoot as well as I can in Paris and represent my country is going to be amazing. And I'm really looking forward to it. And then I don't know after that. I really could see myself going another 4 years to LA. So I think it'd be really great to end on a home games. Of course, I'll be a little bit older then. So,
but in shooting, there's no age factor. So you can just go on and on as much as you want.
Exactly. So I'll be 31 when LA comes. So, it would be, I think, really doable and hopefully the path that I take. But at the same time, I'm open to opportunity after Paris. We'll take it day by day then. But I definitely eyes set on Paris and just looking forward to keeping training. The last 2 years since I've graduated college have been really fun, kind of leaning into that professional athlete aspect and really going all out. And so I'm looking forward to doing that and kind of optimizing on that every single day.
That's really great. So you already mentioned Winter Olympics. Winter Olympics is going on. So who are you looking forward to watch, cheer on? Who's your favorite, basically?
I love figure skating personally. So I used to figure skate before I found shooting. Yeah, and I never was amazing at it by any means, but I love watching it. So I'll definitely be tuning into the figure skating, and actually some of the figure skaters train at the Olympic Training Center. So I'll see them in the weight room or in the dining hall. So definitely looking forward to that. And then also biathlon, of course. I feel like we have to support biathlon as our kind of like sister sport. And you may not know this, but you know who Matt Emmons is?
No.
So Matt Emmons, for the viewers who don't know, is 3-time Olympic medalist in rifle shooting, shooter of his generation, great friend of mine. He is in Beijing with the biathlon team as a specialist rifle coach. Yeah, so definitely if you're watching the TV, seeing if he's there in the stands or talking to the athletes.
So biathlon is a very interesting sport, and I think people just don't know about it. So Ginny, just tell us, because figure skating is something you loved and shooting is obviously so a blend of it. So just explain it to us.
Explain biathlon?
Yes.
Yeah, so biathlon is cross-country skiing and shooting. So it's similar to our shooting. They use a 22 caliber rifle. They use a lot of the same ammo and gun brands, but it's different because it's scored on a hit or miss basis. So they'll take 5 shots and their speed matters, and they'll either hit the target or they'll miss the target. Whereas our sport, you have the target and you're measured on how close you are to the center. It's not a hit or a miss. So it's kind of like more specialized. So what I would compare it to is like our type of shooting is like running a marathon, whereas biathlon is more like a triathlon, right? Where there's running, swimming, and cycling. So it's combining different things, but it's such a, oh my gosh, I watch them. They are such impressive athletes.
Have you ever tried biathlon?
I have not. I've been downhill skiing, but I've never been cross-country skiing. And people ask me, you know, why don't you do both? And the people who do biathlon are so tall. They are really, really tall. Then they have those long legs to get the cross-country skiing. And I am very short.
Right. Absolutely. Looking forward to US perform at Winter Olympics. So let's end this session at a very interesting question, which I am again putting you in an uncomfortable position. So Ginny, if you had to choose between accuracy and composure, what would you choose as a shooter?
Accuracy or composure? Oh my God. I mean, obviously both are needed, right? We'll just get that out of the way, but I'll answer the question. I'm going to say composure because I think it's more rare. I think a lot of people can be accurate, and I think accuracy is teachable, right? And composure is also teachable, but I think it's harder in a lot of ways. And I think accuracy will get you to win any match, but I think composure can help you win the match, right? When the pressure's on. And I would put it this way: when you're going to a World Cup or the Olympics, the top 10 athletes in the world are all going to be at the same skill level, right? Their personal best are all going to be around the same. Their equipment's going to be the same. Their physical features are going to be the same. And the question is, who's going to do it that day, right? Who's done the mental training? Who is ready to do it that day? And I think composure, and I would even say like emotional control, that's something I think a lot of athletes are lacking in, is really going to help you on the big stages.
Absolutely. That's a very interesting takeaway. Like everybody is always about accuracy, but in long term and also in shooting, you need the, constant performance. So for that, composure is really important. Thank you so much, Ginny, for being here with us. It was really fun talking to you, knowing more about you, and all the best for the upcoming competition. It was really a big honor for us to have you here. And we will definitely cheer for you in Egypt.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me on and for the thoughtful questions. And look forward to talking to you guys again soon.
Soon, definitely. Thank you, Ginny. Have a good day.